and I wanted to welcome you to my mini angel Q&A. Today's presentation is about the subject of soul clearing and specifically the Dark Lord clearings that I do in my soul clearing. So I had a question come up from one of my clients that wanted to know, what is a Dark Lord? So a Dark Lord is a negative entity of a pretty high degree. So as far as like negative entities go, they have like various degrees of ugliness and evilness, and their commitment to wreaking havoc in our lives. So like a regular entity might be just mildly mischievous, and then you might go on up to say a a lesser demon or a full demon, and so they would be committed to a lot more negativity, and they would really influence you negatively and encourage you to create havoc in your own life. They might encourage you to consume alcohol or drugs or other deviant behaviors to hurt other people. Their goal is to cause as much chaos and pain as they possibly can on not just your personal life, but with your friends and family, coworkers, and anybody in your surrounding, because that is what they actually consume, is that fear energy and that chaos energy and all of the negative emotions that are associated with that. And so then from your lesser demon or full demon, you would go up to what we call a Dark Lord. And then after that, you would go on up to an archdemon. For the most part, an archdemon would not be really content to have just like one person, unless it was someone along the lines of like Hitler or Saddam Hussein, or any you think about a tyrant from our past, then that person would be possibly and probably connected to an archdemon, because they are in a position to create as much havoc and fear as possible. You think about the Holocaust, think about in France, where they had the witch hunts, and even in the United States of America. So the witch hunts and all of those major, terrible times of people killing each other, and all of that fear and panic and all of that unrest energy, that is what negative entities thrive off of. So the question was about the Dark Lord and how they were able to get into your own personal energy field. So I wanted to tell you my personal experience about that. I've been doing this clearing work for 20 years, and I am quite a show me girl. So I don't just blindly believe what somebody tells me. I really have to see it in action in my own life. That's just kind of who I am. But I want you to not feel like you have to see it for yourself, because this is definitely not something that you want to experience for yourself if you don't have to. But anyhow, when I was going through the training to start doing this work, we were in a group setting, and the facilitator wanted to do this clearing release for everybody who was there, and that was probably 20 people. And so as she was doing the prayer request, she said to just create the intention to let go of any entity on whatever level, and to follow along as she did the prayer requests, and to claim that clearing and that activation for ourselves. So I did the prayer request. It didn't take very long, maybe a few minutes, and I felt like it was powerful and it was interesting, but I still didn't know like how it was really relevant to me, and I really didn't feel like I was under that influence. And most of the time, people that are under the influence, they won't know it because it's kind of creeped into their matrix so sneakily that they don't realize it. They may, if they're super sensitive, they may feel like there's something way wrong, but they probably won't be able to put their finger on it. But anyhow, later that night when I went to sleep, I had a horrible nightmare. And in the nightmare was the entity that we released, and it was trying to get back into me, into my energy field. So, but that is one of the beauties of the clearing work, is that after we clear out whatever negativity is attached to you, then we reset your shields so that you're protected, so that another entity or the same one can't get back in. And so they the negativity, they can knock on the door and they can try to weasel their way back into your energy field, but that's all. Like that, just because they want back in doesn't mean they can get back in. But anyhow, it was really it proved to me that they were real, because I had never seen one before. I had seen entities, but I'd never seen one to that degree. And I promise you all that you do not want to see that for yourself. And some of the ways that you might know if you have a connection like this, like a Dark Lord, is that you may have a terrible time trying to break a habit of drugs or alcohol, or even things like um, even negative sexual activities. That can be a sign that there is a dark entity that is driving you towards that. But it'll just feel, you may have thoughts that are harmful, like to hurt yourself or to maybe even hurt other people. If this is left unchecked, then they can actually drive a person to commit suicide. So it is, people say, well, a ghost can't hurt you. Well, maybe a ghost can't, but a Dark Lord can. And they have. I mean, I think they're behind most of the people that commit any kind of atrocity or murder, is that there's some kind of negative entity of some degree, probably a lesser demon or full demon or a Dark Lord or a full-blown arc demon. So we want to take steps to clear them out of our matrix. And in the clearing work that I do a complete and full release of the dark entities. And it's just the process of working with the divine temples of truth, of love, of light, of power, and creating the intention, and then doing the actual activation codes and prayers to remove them from your space. The things that can make your energy field susceptible to being under attack from an entity. Unfortunately, it is like anything that causes you fear, anything that puts you into a tailspin, like depression or loss of a loved one, loss of a job, when you might have witnessed something that was very traumatic, that can unfortunately open a doorway to your own, like a personal psychic attack. But overindulgence in drugs and alcohol can definitely open a doorway to the dark side. And what's sad is that sometimes if our spouse or someone that lives in the home with us, if they have attachments to alcohol or overindulgence in drugs, then they can invite that darkness into our house, into our personal space, And because we love those people and we have a connection to them, then we have a vulnerability to them as well. And often that is where we are susceptible to being attached ourselves, is through that vulnerability, because our defenses are down and we love those people, and unfortunately sometimes it can really open a doorway to darkness. So we definitely want to take strong steps to clear and remove these. The only one that I know that is up to it is in the clearing work. I'm a student of several mystery paths, and this one, done with the angels, for me is the most powerful one, and it's the only one that can move that kind of negativity. I really feel like a lot of the different paths, that they do have techniques and wherewithal, but I'm just telling you from my experience what has worked for me. But anyhow, I think it was a good question, and it's more relevant than what people might think of so if you have like a child that is like way misbehaving or just slightly bent, like, mean to animals or mean to the other kids in the family, or if you know someone that is super depressed and really maybe considering suicide, or working with some really strong negative emotions, then definitely think about getting some clearing work on their behalf. That is one circumstance where you don't need direct permission. If you feel like, if you suspect there is a dark entity attached to them, then we can do that clearing because it is in the highest good of the community and that person too. So that's like one of the few circumstances that we don't actually need the person involved to actually do some work on their behalf, because we're doing it for their highest soul good, and not just theirs but for the community. Because dark lords can really wreak huge havoc. Think about 9/11. There's definitely a lot of darkness behind those people and the choices that they made. So anyhow, if you have questions, send me an email. That's the fastest way to get my attention, and I will see what I can do with that. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Bye-bye.